I think the idea of redemption in America specifically has been one that's very complex. And I think what's resonated with people in regards to my particular journey is that I have been willing to admit and be very open and honest about the poor decision I made in 1991. So the background story of how I became who I am in the world today is I grew up in the city of Detroit, got caught up in the street culture very early on, ran away from a broken home, found myself selling crack at the age of 14. 17, I was shot multiple times. I tragically and unfortunately shot and caused a man's death. I was sentenced to 17 to 40 years in prison, served 19 years, 7 in solitary confinement. And that's where my story began to change and turn around. And that happened as a result of me discovering the powerful tool of writing. And I began writing and journaling and really kind of examining my life and how so many other young men and women end up taking those, unfortunate turns. And it was through that process I discovered I had a talent and gift as a writer. And I began to just tell stories to help reimagine the possibility of a life beyond prison. Well, a lot of the key things that I learned about business in general probably predated my incarceration. I grew up selling crack cocaine, and unfortunately, it is an enterprise. All the elements of business are there, whether it was marketing and figuring out how do I acquire customers from different areas, networking, building relationships, understanding state-to-state commerce, being able to transport drugs and move product. And all those things are applicable in any business setting. And so it wasn't until I was actually in prison that I realized these were transferable skills when I was running black market stores on the inside, which was the way that we kind of supplemented, the lack of food and the lack of quality food in the child hall. So entrepreneurship is something that you can cultivate in any environment. So I was able to do that. When I got out of prison, I started selling books out the trunk of my car. Like the first thing that I did was sold my first book, and I've been selling books for nearly 10 years since then. I think that big business can do a lot more to ensure that people have access to employment. People who are coming home from prison need to be able to find a job, need to work. And it takes courageous companies to say, we're gonna judge these people based on their own merit. We're gonna see and give them an opportunity to perform in the workplace the way that we would give anybody opportunity to perform in the workplace. Having a felony on your record doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad person. And I think what happens in America is sometimes we're so disposable of so many things, including people, that we forget there's an untapped resource and an untapped labor pool of people who are ready and eager to work. And if we shut those doors of opportunity, we're doing a great disservice to the country, and we're doing a great injustice to what it means to be human. I'm not an anomaly. I know a lot of people would think that I am, but I know a lot of incredible people who were formerly incarcerated who are doing a great deal of amazing things in the world, adding a ton of value to the world, and yet they're still boxed out of a lot of the avenues that will allow people to thrive. And despite this, they're still showing up in the world as incredible human beings. So if we can get more companies to think about that stuff, I think it will be a game changer for our country.